Some of my earliest memories as a kid were being out in the garage with my dad and learning how to fix anything mechanical, really, whether it be cars, motorcycles, BMX bikes, or even my skateboard. I'd spend days out in the art studio with my mom making sketches and building sculptures out of really any materials that I could get my hands on. I've always been fascinated with taking things apart and learning how they work, and I really enjoyed the process of coming up with a new idea and executing it. I've always gravitated towards things of the past, the unique design and style of an earlier time, and the thought of craftsmanship that went into it. I think that every car has a story, and it's our job to keep that story going. The combination of performance and function paired with creativity has always been at the forefront of my mind, and this is my outlet for it. There's no modern billet parts on the car. There's no electronic components that control any of that stuff on the vehicle. It's all carbureted, original Porsche suspension, original shocks, original Porsche brakes, and it may not be the most modern driving experience, but there's something so raw that teleports you back into time. And I feel like if I was living back in the late 60s and had an early Porsche and took it home and did all my customizations and modifications to it, I would do exactly this. Being able to get inside the car and go for a drive and experience the work that you've created. It's just you and the road, a steering wheel, and some pedals, and that's extremely important to me, being able to have that outlet. All of the mechanical components working just as you intended them to. There's something really special about that to me. I got into cars mainly through my father. So my dad's been a body guy his whole life, and he's always had various cars around the house and project cars, whether they were his or other people's. I saw that growing up and was extremely inspired by his passion for cars and just what joy those could bring to my life and others. One time when I was in 8th grade, my father had a Porsche that he was repairing out there. And once he finished that, he asked me if I wanted to go for a little test drive in it to make sure that everything was functional. So we hopped in and jammed at about 120 miles per hour down some country roads. And at the intersection, we whipped a left turn and did some donuts in the car and then drove back home. And from that point, I just instantly fell in love with the Porsche brand and knew what these cars were capable of and just the entire driving experience of them. Being that I build 356s every day, I've always had the crazy idea of building a prototype Porsche special of some sort. So I had this idea bouncing around my mind for the longest time, wanting to find the perfect canvas for it, whether it's early 911, early 912, and take all of the 356 elements that I use to build these cars every day and incorporate that in the early 911, 912 platform. I found this car and it had had a bunch of not very great work done to it, completely rusted out. It had probably been sitting outside for the past 15 years or so, and that was pretty obvious because someone had already cut all of the body panels off of the vehicle. I didn't feel guilty about sacrificing this car to a one-of-a-kind prototype special. As soon as I got that car and got the title transferred into my name, I knew all of the work was up to me and it was time for me to execute. Once I got the car back from Media Blast, I began cutting the floors out of the car and doing the initial rust repair, making sure that the chassis of the vehicle was structurally sound. I rebuilt all of the heater tubes, all of the suspension points, and really setting myself up for success long term so that I had this solid chassis to work with and I could move on to the outer custom elements from there. The Porsche 356 Pre-A is one of my favorite models of Porsche, and I wanted to use that as inspiration for this car in a few ways. One of the most noticeable would be the single grille deck lid in the back. Basically what I did was I made my own deck lid grille and I made it 20% larger of a stock 356 deck lid grille so that it would fit the proportions of the 911 exterior. From there, I shaved the drip rails. I got rid of all of the bumper trim. I radiused the door edges, radiused the deck lid corners, the hood corners, made a custom roll bar for it. Really just went over the whole car and chased simplicity throughout the whole build. That was my main goal for the car, was to make all of the custom modifications that I did almost undetectable for those who aren't aware of what these cars would have looked like from stock, and really just chase that prototype early 912 look. The engine could have its own documentary, but I'll keep it brief. So the engine that's in the car is a 2.1 liter 4-cylinder 911 engine. My father-in-law Rod acquired the engine roughly 10 years ago or so, and the engine was originally built back in the 1980s by Chuck Beck. He took a 6-cylinder 911 engine and essentially cut the center 2 cylinders out of it and welded the case back together to create this one-of-one prototype engine that had a custom cam, custom crank, was bored out to being a 2100cc engine. And he had built this motor to put in the back of his Porsche 550 Spider replica kit car. It being such a special and unique prototype engine and the car that I was building, it was really the perfect match for the two. This car to me will forever be an ongoing project, and there's always things that I think about how I would have done them differently or how I could improve upon this car. And I do see myself in the future making small upgrades and making it handle better, or maybe adding air conditioning one day, or updating the gauges and just adding different elements to the car to evolve with myself and my skills and the technology that we're coming up with here at the shop. I love the point that it's at, and it's been so special to me being able to bring that to life, but who knows if it's always going to stay the same. I think there's something extremely rewarding about taking raw materials or taking a car that has been forgotten about and using your hands and your ideas and bringing that to life. There's something so unique and special about that to me that so few people ever get to experience unless you work for it and learn these skills and create something that's meaningful to you. Getting inside of a vehicle that you've dreamt up for years and you've spent working on for years, there's something so powerful about that. I'm Drew Hafner and I drive a 1968 Porsche 912.